Okay, so, you guys ready for some very special guests? Alright, here we go. He was part of one of the most notorious and dangerous tag teams at the time in the WWE, the Steiner brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rick Steiner. Another legend in the WWE, one of the greatest managers ever, but his mouth got him into a little trouble now and then. Please welcome the mouth of the South, WWE Hall of Famer, also mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Here today. Jimmy, before we get started talking about this documentary, we had the WWE Hall of Fame last night, and you managed several tag teams, but last night it was awesome to see the natural disasters, Typhoon and Earthquake. Your thoughts on them going in?
First of all, I think I've managed every tag team in the world except the Steiner brothers. Which I wish I could have managed them, but they were great by themselves without a manager. But yeah, it was great to see Fred Ottman go in last night, and of course the late great John Tenta, the natural disasters. A quick story, if I may say something.
Yeah, please.
Back when they first happened, Pat Patterson came to me years ago, and I was already managing the Nasty Boys and the Rougeau brothers and the Hart Foundation, of course, and several other people. But what happened? Pat came and said, "Look, we're going to flip Typhoon, Tugboat, and put him in a group called the Natural Disasters with you and Earthquake." And I said, "Okay, man, that's going to be great." So they said, "We got to go do some music." So I got a hold of Bruce Pritchard. We went in, we cut a song real quick for him, and they okayed it. So I had to get a jacket made as quick as I could. So I sent back down to Clearwater Beach, Florida, where I live, and they airbrushed a jacket for me. And the guy goes, "What's it called?" I said, "The Natural Disasters, Earthquake, and Typhoon." He goes, "Okay, got the names right." "Yeah, I got it, man. Don't worry, Jimmy. Okay, baby, go." So it was shipped to me on the road. So when I got the jacket, I put it on, getting ready to go to the ring, and it said the Natural Disasters, Earthquake, and Tycoon. So we had to take a piece of tape and fix the P into a C. So crazy story what happened. But it was great to see them in last year.
Yes, a great honor for those guys coming in. I know there are a lot of natural disaster fans out there. And Steiner brothers fans. You guys had a chance to see the documentary. Jimmy, your thoughts after?
I had a chance to watch it. It's phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out, man. It is unbelievable. 32 years ago. Can you believe that? 32 years ago, right here in Las Vegas.
I thought it was a great thing. It was great going back in time and seeing just what we looked like back then and what went on and just the difference then from now. Just an awesome production. I thought it was great.
And folks, you know it's already out on Peacock. Has anybody seen it yet?
Oh yeah.
Whisper to the folks next to you, tell them how great it is. And Jimmy, and I'll get your thoughts on this too, Rick, if you remember, they built a Roman Coliseum in the parking lot of Caesar's Palace. When do you guys remember first walking in there and seeing what they created for this?
Well, for me, I couldn't believe it. I'm going, holy moly, this is crazy, man. And like I said before, we already knew that the place was going to be sold out with the ticket sales because, you know, a month or so ahead, it was already sold out completely. But it was great. Can't you imagine, when you walk into a stadium like that and over to the right, there's Bobby Heenan, right? You turn over to the left, there's Mr. Fuji playing tricks on people. Bobby Heenan's telling jokes, of course. You got the Hulkster on one side of the room and Brutus Barber Beefcake. Over on the other side, you've got Razor Ramon. I mean, just the Steiner brothers against the head shrinkers back in the day. And so, like I said, it was just such a thrill to me. But what a production! It was crazy.
Oh, there was been so much going on. Even a little controversy. One of the most provocative situations there, Jimmy. I'll get right to it. When the Maniacs, you showed up with them, and Hulk one with a pretty nasty shiner. Before I get your thoughts, let's take a look at what was going on with the Hulkster at WrestleMania 9.
He was flying in the air and the ski did a 360 and the front of the ski hit him in his eye orbit here and fractured it. He was almost not quite unconscious, but pretty much out of it. And pull him from the water, get him up on the beach.
The first thing he did was call Jimmy Hart. Big mistake.
Oh baby, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh my gosh, you will not believe his face. I mean, eye socket, like, oh, it was horrible. Hulk goes, I ain't missing WrestleMania. Because Hulk's from the old school. No matter if you're hurt or not, you make your gig, you make your shot. I said, Hulk, what are we going to do?
I said, Jimmy, we're going to WrestleMania tomorrow.
All right, Jimmy. What's the real story?
All right, the first story that went out, it was like Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan got into a big fight before WrestleMania. I said, what? That was the rumor going around. So what really happened is what Brutus and what the Hulkster said. They were, the day before the show, they were out with Ellis Edwards, you know, on a jet ski having fun the day before WrestleMania, or 2 days before. So they go out, they're out, the waves are really bad that way. It had been raining earlier that day, so the jet ski took a big dip into one of the rings, and of course, one of the handlebar deals hit the Hulkster in the eye, ripped it wide open. I mean, we had to call a doctor that night and try to get it patched up as much as we could. That's the real story of what happened. But then we got to the arena, you know, right here in Las Vegas, and of course we had the doctors. You had to go to the doctor's in and get an okay if you could get in the ring or not. So Vince tells Hulk, he goes, man, you can't wrestle like that. There's no way. They're not going to approve it. He goes, yeah, we had a commission back then too.
Yeah.
So they go to the convention and they go, oh, let me see this. Oh my God. He goes, there's no way you can wrestle. And Hulk said, brother, I'm getting ready to do a movie. He said, this is all makeup. They went, what? Man, what a great job this is. It looks real, which it really was real. So they checked it out. Hulk told him he was doing a big movie project coming out. The guys believed it. Guess what? We got the okay to have the match.
Okay, and you couldn't keep the Hulkster out of the ring, and there's no question about it. That was one nasty injury, but there were different opinions. Your brother, Scott, had an idea. I want to get your thoughts, Rick, on what you thought happened.
I don't think a lot of us really knew what was going on, didn't know at the time what Hulk was up to. And of course, you know, Jimmy mentioned, you hear all the stories. So it's hard to, you know, in this business, what's real and what's not real. And so I just kind of waited to see what happened to him when he walked through in the back there. I'm like, holy cow, something happened bad. So, you know, I was just waiting to see what was going to go on, what would happen. And he ended up going to the ring and going in.
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
And we may never know, but those are the story of the 100. And we cannot deny, Jimmy, the power of Hulkamania, that they needed the Hulkster at WrestleMania 9 and the Mega Maniacs. What do you remember of that match? Because there was a lot of shenanigans going on.
Well, first of all, what a great card. I mean, the card from top to bottom was stacked. It was unbelievable. You know, like you said, you had Lex Luger on there, of course. And I think he was going against Mr. Perfect. Was that right? Mr. Perfect on that. And of course, The Undertaker was on there against John Gonzalez.
Yeah.
So, and the list goes on. Steiner.
Everybody remembers that outfit he was wearing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But what a great commentating team we had. Jim Ross, Randy Savage, and Bobby Heenan.
Bobby Heenan.
They're great.
In togas. Let's not forget that.
Absolutely.
Riding elephants.
But what happened about a month before that was shot a big angle. Now, before I started managing the Hulkster, you know, I had so many different people back then. You know, I had Earthquake and Typhoon, of course, the Honky Tonk Man, the greatest intercontinental champion of all time. If I don't say that, he'll hit me with a guitar. But
Close to the greatest.
so now, until your son came around, I don't want to get slammed by him when he. But like I said, I had so many different people I was managing. We had a lot of tag teams back then. And of course, one of the greatest, of course, was one half sitting next to me, the Steiner brothers. But at that time, I had the Rougeau brothers, the Nasty Boys. I had the Hart Foundation. Of course, Ted DiBiase and Erwin Archivist, just to mention a few. But what happened a month before that, I've got to be the dumbest manager in the world. I turned on every team that had the championship titles for me. I left them to join somebody else. But what happened, I was managing Erwin Archivist and Ted DiBiase on one of our Raw TV appearances. And all of a sudden, Brutus came out. He gave really a heartfelt story. You know, I lost my wife, my dog ran off, my cat killed a goldfish. I mean, whatever he said back in the day. And so they were going to bust him in the face because he had a bad jet ski accident. First time back, they were going to bust him in the face with my megaphone. So you know me, I dove across his lame body, laying in the ring, and I covered his face up, and I said, "No, Ted, don't do it." Well, they threw the megaphone down and left me standing over Brutus the Barber Beefcake. So when I went in the back, the huckster goes, "You know, Jimmy Hart, I knew you were a Hulkamaniac, baby. You got red, white, and blue running through your veins. You need to join me and Brutus." And I said, "Okay, Huckster, I'll do it." So what did I do? I joined the Huckster. So at WrestleMania 9, there I was in the corner of Hulk Hogan, Brutus Beefcake, against Ted DiBiase and Erwin R. Scheifele.
Yeah, what a memory that is. And we also know how it all finally ended up with the Hulkster. I mentioned, folks, before that video that was shot behind the scenes, and as I said, it just wasn't done. And I'm going to get your guys' comments, but we're going to take a look back now at what went on behind the curtain. Take a look.
All of this craziness, it starts to come together.
Caesar's Palace Outdoor Stadium is transformed into a Coliseum right out of the ancient Roman Empire.
If this is the only option, it's okay. People are being fitted for togas.
I told you with no underwear.
I thought, boy, that is the best idea I ever heard because it was just funny.
It's a pizza.
Friends, Romans, and countrymen, I've got two of them, so don't lend me your ears.
Had somebody else write from the third of it.
Thought it was all pretty cool. I was glad that they put some thought into all that kind of stuff. And, you know, the wrestlers are marveled by it as much as the fans are.
Oh, they did a great job on the outdoor set. They did it up, man. Epic set.
It was kind of like a movie set, you know, more so than being in an arena.
May the fleas of 1,000 camels harass your balls.
Watching Gorilla Monsoon joking around with that outfit on, it's kind of priceless today to watch that. Knowing his character and what kind of a legend he was.
Round and round and round he goes until Muhammad Ali doesn't know where he is. And I'm going to pardon this man.
What is this for?
Making of Mania. The making of Mania, oh no.
They were protecting the business a lot more back then, so it was weird to have cameras following you around, or you're just sitting there and the camera crew comes by and you're like, the hell is this?
No, that's for you ladies.
How you doing, fellas? I like this fuzzy mic you got here.
Right here. You doing back here? No, it just wasn't the norm.
You got some strange looks. Like, why is there a camera in my face?
Just for the new camera.
This is for the making of Mania.
You're peeling back the curtain.
I guess.
I can remember looking at the Undertaker, like just staring across the room, like, why are you shooting me?
Backstage was kind of my safe place where I could be me and not have to worry about being a character. So anytime that I saw cameras, like I went out of my way to find out what they were doing. I'm already giving the cameraman a hard time. You can see in this footage, I'm deadpanning somebody. I'm giving them the death stare, like, why are you filming? You know better. Gotta protect the character. Got her drinking. That's the end.
It was different, you know, it was fun, and everyone else was having fun with it.
This is the making of WrestleMania.
I just gave me some push-ups or something over here. I remember it was such a hot day, and even when we're in the ring here, it's pretty hot. It's about 80 degrees out.
Wasn't that amazing? And think back when that was. That just wasn't done. So the faces on those guys is classic, isn't it? You see Bret and Undertaker's like, what in the world's going on? Right, guys? It just wasn't done. Rick, what do you remember of seeing those cameras back there?
Yeah, it was big. You know, we were protecting the business, and any cameras or anybody came back there, we made sure they were gone, get them out, and we escort them out ourselves. We did everything we could to protect the business in the locker room and our own little, time back there behind the scenes.
And Jimmy, you were never shy around a camera, but what did you think about that happening back there?
You know what? It was very unusual because, like Steiner said, we never had a camera crew behind the scenes, behind the curtain, But all of a sudden, the cameras were everywhere. No matter where you go, the cameras would be there. And a lot of us didn't know really how to act to it. Are we supposed to play to the camera? Or imagine they're not with us? Or what were we going to do? So just watching that footage was pretty crazy. It really was.
It is amazing. And for you to be around all this, you guys had only been there for a few months.
I know, like, what kind of place is this?
Yeah, and what do you remember of that, though? Just the fanfare of it all, and walking into that Coliseum for the first time, heading out to the ring with all those fans.
I remember walking in, and then in the front lobby was $1 million in cash. Just sitting there, you could almost imagine was right in the lobby there, and I walked in, and everything was, gladiator style, Roman Empire style. I mean, it was amazing.
And it was your first WrestleMania?
Yes, first WrestleMania.
On this grand scale, did you guys really feel like you'd made it?
It's, I've never been to a big event like that. That was just an awesome thing. And then walking in the back and outside, like, wow, this is going to be different. And there was tons and tons of Jimmy, and I know there was tons and tons of movie stars, actor. I mean, everybody wanted to be involved and be a part of this and come and see it and talk to you. It was just amazing.
But you know what? Even on the plane, on my flight coming in from Florida, they go, "Hey, welcome to WrestleMania 9, Las Vegas." We were going, "Wow, man, this is crazy on the plane." And of course, the cars that picked us up to bring us to the hotel. We looked all over. There's so much great signage and footage of just everything about WrestleMania. We'd never really seen that before, I mean, of course, WrestleMania 1, I was part of WrestleMania 1, so it shows how old I really am. But that was kind of crazy back then, too. But we'd never believed that 9 years later, it would have been grown so much through the years, and it was so big. But I've always said this, WWE's have always had the best production in the world. Always had the best.
It is amazing. And as I mentioned, that was the Steiner brothers' very first WrestleMania. And, folks, it is a generational business. And it's somebody else's first WrestleMania. And I can't imagine you could be prouder of your son, who also happens to be the WWE Intercontinental Champion. Folks, please welcome Bron Breakker. Thank you so much for being here. You weren't even born yet when WrestleMania 9 took place, but I know you've had a chance to see the documentary. What was it like, though, to sit there and watch and see your dad and your uncle?
It's just, I've seen a lot of their matches, as many as I can watch on YouTube or the internet, look back on, or some of the tapes, cassette tapes that we've had at the house for forever. But it's cool to reminisce on those, these older matches and look back and watch them when they're in their prime and their thing. It's just like, how incredible that they both were. And, when he first came out here, I think I heard you right that the Steiner brothers were the greatest tag team of all time and not one of. Is that right?
Yeah. Did I misspeak? Absolutely. The best. The #1 tag team.
Well, I know he was looking back because he stole all our moves. That's why he
Is that true, bro? But it must be, how inspired have you been by these two individuals, obviously, where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, I think from the ground up, like dad is my hero in my life and the person that I've looked up to the most. And I mean, I couldn't think of a better person to take, sort of, take after, you know what I mean, in this business and look up to and look after. And I mean, some of the stuff that they did back in the day was just incredible. You know what I mean? I'd be all right if I just did half, that.
Is it surreal though to be sitting here on the stage with him? Here we are, WrestleMania.
Yeah. It's the biggest event in the world right now. And I get to sit up here with my son. It's an amazing thing. Jimmy, just to be a part of this event, our first, his first. I mean, life doesn't get any better than that.
All right, Bron, so you mentioned it's your first WrestleMania. You are the WWE Intercontinental Champion. Your match is happening tomorrow night. And you're not making it easy in this one, not taking on just one opponent. You've got 3. How does the Steiner math work in this one? I know that you were working through this before. Tell us a little bit about how this match is going to go down.
Well, I think that everybody can agree that Dominic Mysterio is the worst, right? Dominic Mysterio is a scared man. I would be surprised if he even shows up tomorrow, to be honest with you. So I'm tallying that one up as a 25% chance in my direction right out of the gate. Penta, I give props to Penta because of how fast that he's stormed WWE and Monday Night Raw and stepped on the scene, and the fans have taken a liking to him right out of the gate. But there's a whole different animal being in there with me versus somebody that, I mean, it's all fun in the beginning when somebody's new, and then when the rubber meets the road and it's time to face a champion, he's not getting past Sunday.
Yeah.
And then Finn Balor is probably the most respected WWE superstar in this event because of his lineage and how many championships that he's won and how much time that he's been around. And you have to respect that as a fan, as a superstar. You have to, or else if you don't respect it, it might be your worst enemy in a match. So I got my eyes on all three men, and I'm looking forward to Sunday, man. I can't wait to defend the championship for you guys.
It's going to be awesome.
I think 3 spears.
And 1, 2, 3.
Over.
Yeah, you know how dangerous that can be. Right now up here, Rick, you're not Rick, you're Dad.
Yeah.
And what does it mean to you really to be able to see your son kind of carry on this legacy for you?
Well, at first, he did football and did all that, and I was really proud of him doing all that, all his accomplishments and everything he did in football. He always was a great athlete growing up, and when he came up to me and asked, Dad, I'd like to get into business, and I'm like, oh man, come on, I've been there and done it. You know what's in front of the camera, you know what's behind the camera. And so I kind of had, a little reservation with it. He kept kept bugging me about it until finally I called a couple buddies of mine and he got into NXT. And man, he's just had so much success. It's sometimes it's almost like unbelievable just how fast he's moving up the ranks and stuff he's accomplishing. And it's all about his intensity and the mindset he has for being in this business. And talks like my brother, wrestles like his dad.
Yeah.
And put it together, he's dual kick, double trouble.
And Bron, I know he jokes with you. He says you stole all of his moves. But here on this stage, I want to give you that opportunity. What would you say to your dad, really, for the path that he laid out before you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's, something that I'll never be thankful enough for. You know what I mean? Just back then, these guys were on the road almost double the amount that we are today. So think about how much hard work and sleepless nights and travel and stuff that it takes to entertain each and every one of you. Back then it was every single night of the week. So that takes an incredible amount of perseverance and drive and hard work every single day that nobody sees. So it's just incredible to think back, to reminisce on those times, and to look back on your guys' careers and just say thank you.
Can I say something?
Yeah, and I want to ask you, Jimmy.
That's great. You know what? I'm going to say this. I watch NXT every week. I love it. You know, I was talking to somebody last night at the Hall of Fame, and I said it's almost like 85 or 90% of the card this year at WrestleMania 41's NXT, right? So I used to talk to Terry Taylor off and on. And so about a year and a half ago, he said, "Who do you see on the show that really stands out?" And I went, "Bianca Belair." I said, "Man, she's going to be a star." This past year, Terry, we talked, and he said, "Who stands out?" I said, "Brock Breaker, man. This guy's going to be unbelievable." And I was right. He's here, baby. Got the strap, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think that Carlito and Steve might think something differently after they've been split in half by it.
You know, one thing, just to add to that, I was on the road, 280 days, 300 days a year. But one thing I had 3 boys. I made a point every chance if there was an opportunity for me to get home, I went home to spend my time with my boys and help raise them and try to influence them in the right paths to take. And, they meant more to me than anything. Business, it ranked up there, but my boys meant everything to me. And so I made an effort to get home and make sure I was with them every chance.
Well, guys, these are 2 very tough individuals, but man, will you please get up and hug it out, man? I want to see the father-son hug here, man, because
forcing them to hug.
That's us, right?
Hug.
What a legacy, the Steiners. Yeah.
I love you, son.
Hey, Dad, can I get a hug too?
Come on, get it in. Bring it in. All right,
You weren't invited.
All right. Well, it really is family. You think about through all of the ages, and how many people have seen the documentary? Raise your hands for me. It really is fantastic. And if you recall, there's an individual. Go ahead, guys. Sit down. We're going to continue here, but there's an individual in this who really kind of became the star behind the scenes, and he really has all these many years. And he happens to be a really good friend of mine. He has been the archivist with the WWE. He's got a really fancy title, VP of Content Clearance and Research. Please welcome star of the show, George Derakos. There he is. Georgie.
Great job, George. Great job. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may recognize George. He really is a personality. He's been with the WWE for way more than 30 years now.
34 years.
And he's made a few appearances over the years. Let's take a look. There's George.
Look at that handsome guy over there. I was at PA when I started. I started working with WWE August 20th, 1990. This is the Alamo Dome, home of the Royal Rumble. Only 7 weeks to go. 7 weeks, virtually. I wasn't starstruck, but I was like, my God, I'm involved in a big product here. I didn't realize that, but this is a big deal. Winner is The Undertaker!
Well, George, you changed your pants, I see. Slammies were a real pisser for you, huh?
We were changing and growing, doing different things. How's your threshold
there right now for
It's
this
absolutely
WrestleMania?
amazing, absolutely amazing. First of all, to sit with the incredible talent up here, Jimmy Hart. We're all standing on Jimmy Hart's shoulders. That's why we're all here. And of course, the Steiners right here, amazing. I got to meet the Steiners a while ago, and it was a privilege then. It's a privilege now. And congratulations to the young man in the middle, who's doing an incredible job. And Sean Mooney, the voice of the WWE for a very, very long time. And it hasn't aged a day since he's been with us.
I was at George's wedding. That's how far back we go. 35 years almost at the WWE.
Great. It's been a great ride. I've watched evolution.
I was going to say, tell us a little bit, I mean, over the years, how much it's changed. Now, folks, when we all began there, it was all based in Stamford, and it was a family. In a sense, the company was very small.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
The company was about 70 people when I started there, and now we have over 600 people working at the studio and over in Stamford, Connecticut. And I mean, everything has changed. I mean, I was backstage just now, and it looks like NASA. As far as the technology goes, I was waiting for a rocket ship to go into outer space. Everything here, the fans haven't changed. They're still awesome. They're still with us. They still follow us wherever we go. The talent is amazing. All due respect to you, Mr. Steiner, but your son is an amazing worker. And all the talent is just seeming to progress as much as the technology has here at the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Let's talk about the documentary and how it was all put together. First, where this video came from, and the concept of shooting behind the scenes.
Yeah. So basically, the documentary is about how we never went behind the curtains, how we never went back into the locker room area, and for us to do this was a little bit strange, a little bit shocking to the superstars as well, because look, the superstars are always hanging out, obviously, but they don't have a camera following them around and watching them get ready. They don't see the arena getting prepared, or the cameras getting prepared, or all the run sheets running around. So having a camera there watching everything was totally different. We're a little different now. We show a little bit more now than we did back then. But that was the first time we ever broke that barrier and went backstage.
How much fun is it to go back and look at this stuff, because you knew what it was like back then, and the reaction from the superstars backstage?
Yeah, the superstars, like I said, they were surprised. Some of them were angry. Some of them didn't grow up in that school, that no cameras backstage. And of course we respect that, but I think they realized the direction that we were moving into. Fans wanted to know what these people are all about. Not just in the ring, but outside the ring, getting prepared for the ring. So it was something they had never seen before, and neither did we either. But it was exciting back then. A lot of running around, for me especially, since I was a PA. I didn't get to mingle with the superstars that much, but I did do a couple of things out there in WrestleMania 9. So.
Why did it take so long for it to be released?
Yeah, we always knew that footage existed. It just wasn't the right time to show what was going on backstage 10, 15, 20 years ago. Now with the internet and how people are more interested in not just the characters, it was time for them to see what was going on back there.
And Jimmy, I know how much you guys appreciate what these people have done over the years to capture it all.
I mean, great. Look at all the footage we've got now that the fans can see. But look, Netflix, Peacock. I mean, look at everything we're on. You know, when you come and look at the production, like just passing through, going to see where the show's going to take place tomorrow, you go out, you see 15 to 20 semi-trucks. You'll see 4 or 5 equipment trucks, 8 or 9 buses. It's like bigger than the Rolling Stones tour or AC/DC. It's just got bigger every year.
Every year. If you look back now, there's about 20 rock and roll buses back there. And it looks like a big, huge show, because it is a big, huge show. You know?
And Bron, compared to today, from what you experience now and how the crew works, it must be overwhelming to be involved in these productions like this.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine how they feel, because back then, about how reserved everything was. From having cameras and stuff around, because today, I mean, it's like
everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine how you guys.
It's changed a bit, hasn't it, Rick?
It's changed. I mean, you know, Jimmy, back in the day, hell, we protected business. We protected it with our lives. You know, we didn't let anybody in on that part of that. You know, the business behind stage.
Yep.
And now to see this come on, it's actually great to watch and see and look back, and you know, everything changes good. And I believe this. I mean, my hat's off to coming up with this amazing thing you've done here.
Absolutely. Plus, we need so much content now.
Yep.
I mean, look, you got Raw. I mean, everything's on. You got Raw every week. You got SmackDown. You got NXT. You've got a pay-per-view. You know, you've got so much stuff that's really going on now. You've got to have that. But I remember when we first started at Poughkeepsie, New York, when we started doing our filming back then and all the tape show, there wasn't any catering. You'd have to bring your own bottle of water. Mean Gene would be on a stage like this, and he'd be doing interviews from like 9 o'clock in the morning to almost 11 or 12 at night. And Hulk would be on the main event. He wouldn't even be on TV, but he had to be there to help draw the crowds for the people to stay while we tape 6 or 7 hours. So that's how much this has changed. It's phenomenal. It's crazy.
Yeah. And another fun factor is he talks about being on the road, and George was the unofficial official driver of Gene Okerlund between these TV tapings.
When you're a production assistant, you do whatever they tell you, and you enjoy it on top of that. And one of the honors that I had, because it really wasn't a job if you think about it, I got to spend time with Gorilla Monsoon, you know, God rest his soul. Bobby Heenan, another person who was with us, and of course, Mean Gene Okerlund. Driving with Mean Gene Okerlund was exactly what you saw on screen. It wasn't any different, you know. And I can't say a lot of the things that we did on the road, but it was entertaining, and it was never a dull moment with those guys. And you know, we miss them, but look what they helped build. So we're happy. Yeah, I was an unofficial driver, but it was a great time driving them around.
And of course, we used to see them all the time in Stanford. Gorilla had this big, gigantic Cadillac that had the Iron Maiden on the front of it, and he used to drive up, and it really was a family. And when the guys would come in for tapings or whatever, usually there was some kind of function afterwards, and we'd go out. It's looking back now, George. But any big moments to stand up? What is it as far as your career goes?
It's funny. It's not just one big moment, and I know you want to hear some examples. But whenever me, Gene Okerlund, or Bobby Heenan, or Roddy Piper, or Mr. Perfect were in the studio with us, it was just a huge moment. And from the second we hung out with them, we didn't hang out with them, we worked with them. It was always nonstop laughing. Some ribbing involved as well, as the two of you know, I'm sure. But it was so many great moments, driving from town to town. Even in the studio, watching Gorilla Monsoon. If you guys are fans here, and you are, just picture Gorilla Monsoon walking around with his hands in his pocket, or Bobby Heenan, you know, saying something about somebody whenever he saw them. He would never stop. Roddy Piper, God rest his soul as well, Mr. Perfect, all genuine, really, really, really good human beings. At least toward me they were.
And I want to get everybody's thoughts on this before we wrap this up. If you guys have the chance to see this documentary, it was an incredible era. And I want to get your thoughts, Jimmy. You can start talking about how that impacted wrestling forever. That event especially, too. The spectacle, as in the title, was a big part of it.
Well, you know what, too? Steiner and I were talking earlier about it. We were looking at that unbelievable poster in the back up on the wall. But it's so great to see this, but it's a little sad, too, because by looking at the poster, there's so many of the guys that aren't with us anymore. You know, Bobby's gone, and I'm just looking at Gorilla Monsoon's not with us anymore. Mr. Fuji, of course, Mr. Perfect on Kurt Hennig, and it's just Paul Bearer, who I love, man. And it just goes on and on, but it's great to see this behind the scenes, but like I said, it makes me a little sad to see it too, because some of our fellow brothers aren't with us anymore.
Rick?
It's a great thing to see that poster, because it brings back memories. You know, I was good friends with Kurt and Boss Man and Rick Rude, those guys, and seeing this nostalgic type of poster here, you know, it takes me back when I was riding up and down the road with these guys and spending time and we did a lot of things together other than the wrestling. If we weren't wrestling, we'd go on a hunting trip, or we were, doing our fishing trips. Seeing these old, seeing the guys' pictures up here, and it brings back a lot of memories, and then, appreciate the guys who are still around and still here, and watching little Bron Breaker do his thing. It's just great seeing the evolution.
And how do you think this event, because as I mentioned before, it changed the WWE forever, how did it impact the way the WWE moved forward and put on live events? Ron, you've seen it now, you're a part of it.
Well, for me, I mean, this coming to the WWE, and Jimmy said this, they put the production together, the interviews, I mean, everything they did was top notch. Coming from, WCW up, we didn't even have that facility and all the things that were capable to us coming up here to the WWF back there.
Right.
And so just coming up, I'd sit there like, holy cow, this is top of the line here. This is awesome, And just being part of the company, and just when you go from town to town, the exposure was, everybody was watching. So the exposure was out there. Everybody recognized you when there was an event coming in town, like Jimmy said. They were on the airplanes, they were in the hotels, it was everything.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing.
Jimmy, how do you think it impacted the WWE WrestleMania 9?
It gives everybody something to look forward to. There's a Super Bowl, there's the World Series, and for our fans, now there's WrestleMania. It's just got bigger and better every year. And with all the money they make, they take it and put it back into the project. And it just keeps getting bigger. I mean, every year, I know Steiner and I were talking, and you go, well, how can it do better than what it's been doing? But it does, We thought 93,000 people at WrestleMania 3 in Detroit was big. But now there's 2 days here, 2 outdoor shows, 60, 70,000 people a show sometimes. It's crazy. And look at the memorabilia and merchandise. Oh my gosh. I walked through the stores back there, and I was looking at the Superstore, and I saw little t-shirts on everybody, and I'm going, holy moly, this is crazy. The Funko Pops, the championship titles, Ron, you got a great t-shirt back there, by the way. But it's just amazing what they're, it lasts a whole week now. Where before it might be 1 or 2 days, but this is a whole week. But it's just so great. But it's possible because of all of our fans out here that come year after year after year. So we love you. Thank you so much, man. God bless you. Y'all are the best.
Ron, after seeing the documentary, and now you're a part of WrestleMania 41, how have you seen the evolution and the way it is today, and how much do you think that WrestleMania impacted what we're seeing now?
I think that the growth of WrestleMania every year has been, further and further and further along with, I think it's just a testament to everybody as an entire organization, moving forward, because the more and more fans that continue to come see us means the talent is getting better. We're raising the bar with storytelling, in-ring, as well as everybody, in the back, from people working in the truck. Everybody's got to elevate as we move forward, and things get bigger, things get better. So, I think WrestleMania 9, along with the 8 that were previous to that, sort of set the table for the future for us to come here and do this today. It's really cool, and it's up to me and the other young guys to continue that tradition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, there was none of this when we came to 9. There was none of any of this memorabilia. None of this stuff was out there. You just came to the event, you stayed in your room, went down to the arena, and you put on a show. There was none of that, walking around in the merchandise or anything.
That's what I said. It's gotten bigger and bigger and better every year, which is so crazy about everything. But it just seems like when you think, well, what else can they do? Well, that's when they pull the rabbit out of the hat.
Good example right there, that man at the end.
It really is. It's unbelievable.
Ron, I mentioned it was your dad's first WrestleMania. We asked him what it was like to walk out there into that arena. What are you going to feel like tomorrow night when you go into Allegiant Stadium with 50,000 fans waiting to see your match?
Really hasn't set in yet that it's time, but it's time. It's time.
That might be a good slogan. It's time. I like that. That's great. It's time.
Like a t-shirt, Jimmy, maybe.
Got one already. We don't need two.
Well, it really has been a pretty amazing week. How have you been taking this all in, guys? When you come here and you mention what is going on, and it wasn't like that back when WrestleMania 9 was going on. We didn't have these fan fests that went on like this. It's pretty amazing to see what it's become. How's the week been for you, Bron, when you take it all in?
It's definitely been a busy week. There's just a lot of activities and things going on during the week for the superstars. I mean, all of us are, we're working, we're busy, every single day. So it's been great. It's been really fun. All these different opportunities for fan access and stuff like that is really cool. I think it's, it's really enjoyable for us as well. And we appreciate you guys coming out to see us. It's,
I think it's great because, Jimmy, you can attest to that 9. We never did any of this. We stayed in our rooms and waited for the event to happen. We'd go down and do a few interviews here and there, but it was nothing like every night and be here a week ahead of time. It was just, it's evolved, and it's awesome for the fans. You actually get to meet them.
But you know what? I wouldn't trade back what we did back for anything in the world. We were talking earlier about that. Think about it. Back then, we'd go into a dressing room, and you'd have Andre the Giant over here playing cards with Arnold Skolin. Over on this side, you'd have the Huckster cutting his T-shirt up, getting ready to rip it off when you go out. Bobby Heenan telling jokes. Mr. Fuji playing tricks on everybody. The honky-tonk man tuning the guitar that he couldn't even really play. Nikolai Volkov rehearsing the Russian national anthem, going over the match with the Nasty Boys, and when they got to the ring, they forgot everything they talked about, So it was just such a great time. I'm so glad to still be part of this, a little part of it. Even at the Hall of Fame last night, phenomenal. Hey, was Triple H's speech unbelievable? It was great, man. I mean, I really enjoyed everything. But like I said, I've been so blessed to be part of this. And I got to make a confession. I used to hate back when me and the Nasty Boys or whoever had to fight the Steiner brothers. Instead of taking the megaphone, I used to go wear the helmet because I knew I was going to get the heck beat out of me, baby. But I love these guys. But like they said, it's so great being here. And you know what's so cool? With this championship title, Bron's got around him right now.
Yeah.
That means he is the future. That means they can believe in him. They trust him. He's going to be able to carry this company. So this is awesome, man.
Yes, it is.
Well, guys, I want to thank you so much. This has been a really fun panel. Ladies and gentlemen, we kind of tricked George a little bit out here, getting him out here. Folks, he's put in almost 35